He's fucking making jokes. What do you want from me?
3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Amal, and joining me tonight, I have Andy, George, and Carl. We are the Monday Blues, coming to you off the back of I don't know how to put it, upsetting, disappointing, lackluster. Maybe not lackluster, but the other two words are a warranted loss to Geelong over the weekend on Saturday evening. Now, before we kick into the review, Mus was a late out. Excuse me, my voice was late out as well.
Jesus,
Mus was a late out. What was the injury this week, Andy?
no injury. Apparently, he's warming up at Icon Park, ready to take Zach Williams' spot in the team.
There we go.
That's according to words. Early shots fired.
Early shots fired. That will probably give you a taste of what's to come for the review. Gentlemen, how are we doing? How was the weekend off the back of the loss? George, I'll kick it off with you.
Weekends are always, as Andy mentioned last week, we're heightened supporter base, and we always, we ride the wave of emotion. So I guess when it's a loss, the old kicking off the blanket the next morning, and just the day is not as nice and whatnot. But look, made me even hungrier for this Friday night against the Pies. I want to. It would be nice to get one back, and what a game it would be to get one back. So, not the best of and the time slot as well is a bit of an awkward one as well. With the 4:30, you get home and it's not that late, but it's a bit too late to do anything. So, anyway,
yeah. Carl.
Someone's got someone at their front door.
Someone's knocking on my door. Shit, to be honest, it was a shit game, man. Like, I was actually a bit more annoyed than the Adelaide game, being up by 16 and you lose in the last couple of minutes. That was just shit. Then you get home and you jump online and people are all excited about Charlie Curnow winning the Coleman. Like, makes you even more annoyed. But yeah.
We'll talk about it. This is the therapy session for it. Andy, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good. I invest too much of my happiness into the Carlton Football Club, I realised, because when we lose, my life is just average,
It's a shit weekend.
But, the season's long, so I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater just yet, but the baby's getting cold. Let's just put it that way. The baby's getting cold. How about you, bro? How you doing?
It was shit. I took my son thinking that he was the lucky charm. We obviously got over the win against GWS. My son was there, and it's not the case. He's not the lucky charm. He got bored of it as well, and he was asking the whole way home, and it was kind of irritating because he's like, "Dad, why did we lose? Why did we lose?" I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Because Corey Durden can't kick, son.
I'm like, watch the review on Monday night. We might be able to string some, put something together. But no, it was shit. Like you said, right? We live and die by the club almost, and the results of the game on the weekend. So, if it's a win and a good one, we're happy not only for the weekend but for the rest of the week leading up until the next game. And if we don't, then it's shit. It's shit. We're in a bad mood. And just everything is, doesn't taste as good. The weather is maybe a little bit colder and bed doesn't feel as good and everything else. But we'll talk about the game and how it went and sort of our thoughts and feels about it. Got quite a few people watching along tonight. We've got 46 watching along and in the chats so far. Good evening to everyone who's watching along. A friendly reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And if you haven't hit that like button, please do so.
Let us know before we go into the game. Oh, sorry, Jamal, you finish.
Yeah, let us know in the chat how you felt about the game and the result, and how your weekend went as well. We might be able to talk to some of them as well. Georgie,
I was reading. There was an article in the Age on Brian Cook and sort of the off-field success that we've had, and there was a good stat. I think it was 17 million. Well, the AFL clubs combined make it was something like $17 million of off-field revenue, and out of that 17 million, Carlton makes 5 of that, so almost just under a third of it, right? But And he also there was something I read up on it there where it was basically talking about him, targeting. We can see, we can make 125k members, by end of 2025, but also, reading between the lines, he wants to sort of stability within the fan base, and reading between the lines, it's basically like having the fans' tendency, controlling that tendency to go wild and feral when we lose a game. So you look at other supporter bases, and Andy mentioned it last week, we're a bit more heightened. So even it looks like something that Cook is trying to not iron out, but I guess address with the supporter base. Good luck. Like it's going to be a tough ask, right? I think you can put it down to a number of different things. There's a couple of decades of heartache and pain and this and that, but it was an interesting read. It was an interesting article. I thought it's great to see the off-field success, obviously, that the members bring and the passion. 87k against Geelong, an away game, right? The numbers were huge, right? So that was played at GMHBA any other year, and they got to play it at the G. So, but with the support comes, of course, the expectation, and now they get to taste the finals and whatnot. Yeah, you see it at work, you see it at school, you see it everywhere. We are, we live and die by this team, I guess, in the results. So and the media knows that. The media prey on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good call out.
Now, it was good feelings going into the game. I think we were all relatively confident with how the game was going to play out and what Carlton was going to step out. And it started like before the game, the build up in the Geelong home game was pretty cool. They played Zombie Nation, which took me back to my childhood days. Took me back to Eastern Hats, sitting in my uncle's car, listening to Zombie Nation, with the subwoofer going off in the back. That was pretty cool. And the game kicked off, and I think I would like to, again, apologize for what I said about Pitney 2 weeks ago, because he started off on fire. Absolute fire. Stoppages and clearances were not the problem against Geelong, I don't think.
The only problem against Geelong was our finish. We did everything right. Everything. Statistically, we win that game by 5 goals at least. If you look at the stats, you'd think, oh, yeah, all right. They've won by a few goals here. It's just so many set shot opportunities were lost. And this game is about moments and taking your moments, and we just did not take many of them at all. So at the end of the day, the talk is about the umpiring as well. The umpiring was bad, and we all felt that at the game, but we can't cop that. That's, you know what I mean? When you win the inside 50s by however much we did.
21.
when you win the clear center clearances especially, right? We gave ourselves every opportunity to win that game, and we just didn't. We shot ourselves in the foot, literally and figuratively. We were just like, every chance we got was just rushed or just way off. And I don't know if we focused enough on just how bad our kicking has been all year, right? Our disposal all year hasn't been clean, especially going forward. We always talk about this. Your biggest pet peeve is the long bombs inside 50 ml. I know that.
I'll talk to it in a second.
Yeah. See, for me, the long bombing isn't the issue. I don't think that's the issue because we hit the scoreboard 30 times again. So the long bombing isn't the issue. It's just that last kick that's just killing us. And Geelong's a good team. Geelong is always going to hit you on the rebound. We were missing so many defenders, and we didn't look like ourselves defensively. And to be fair, we haven't looked ourselves defensively for a few weeks now. And whether that's injury based or structurally based, something is off. And Voss was cut after the game, and we'll talk about his presser, I'm sure. But we couldn't defend their rebound, and we just didn't take our set shots.
Yeah, their rebound was elite. I don't think there was many rebounds that didn't end up in a scoring opportunity that game. Now, before I move on to some of the analysis that I did, I think I watched the game like 3 times on double speed. So I'm going to bring it up. But just before I do, Ord in the chat has I'm missing the word, has donated $15 to the channel. So thank you, Ur.
Champion.
Good evening
Thanks,
to
mate.
you, and welcome to the channel.
Ur, by the way, has he's doing a Carlton crypto coin. I think this is the Ur as well. I've seen your name around with it, so thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. But
yeah.
Cheers.
I'm jump in the chat. I'm pretty sure he's creating a Carlton crypto coin from
cool.
what I heard. So which is really cool. Get around it.
Nice.
Really appreciate it, mate. Thanks. Thank you.
Absolutely. Clearances and stoppages weren't the problem, right? We were elite in stoppages and clearances. Cripps and Walsh got to work. Piro got to work. TDK, when he was in there, got to work. But let's just look at quarter one, for example, and in particular our inside 50. So what I real old school analysis, right? Literally go watch the replay a couple of times and just make sure that the numbers were right. Now, there's probably a few missed, right? I'm not an analyst or anything like that, but we went inside 50 14 times in the first quarter. 14 times, right? Of those 14 times, I looked for two things. How many times did we bomb it into the 50? How many times did we actually kick it in on to a lead, right? To a player. Of those 14 times, 9 times we bombed it in to the 50. How many of those resulted in a mark or a goal? No marks, 1 goal. And that was out of like crumbs or scrummage or whatever it is, right? When we kicked to a lead, 4 of those kicks to a lead resulted in a mark. But then poor kicking was the issue. We only got 1 goal out of that. 2 goals in the first quarter.
But most teams will do that, Amal, out of the middle.
That often?
Well, I don't know if they're getting that many centre clearances, but I think the ratio, because how often is a midfielder just going to get a clear run outside the middle and then be able to hit a lead up target?
Piro was getting the clearances. Piro was putting it on the burn, bombing it in.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference with us, with just winning and winning by a lot, is we're not having as many set shots as we should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas most of them are rushed and quick having a shot.
Yeah. And even like Walsh is a brilliant player. If you look at some of the entries that are coming off his foot, they're just long and high. They're at no particular target. And you look at who's at the bottom of the ball waiting for it. 4 or 5 Geelong defenders, and Colin Jasny did a great job on Kerno for the first 2 quarters. Plus Harry and Charlie going up for it before their smalls got well around the ball and were able to get it out as quickly as possible.
I just don't think that long bombing the ball into from centre clearance is the issue, because we're scoring. It's just the finish. We are scoring. We scored 2-8 in the first quarter with all that dominance out of the middle. 2 goals, 8, right? And you look throughout most teams out of the middle are gonna bomb it long from a centre clearance. It's really hard to get it's very rare do you see a lead up target, right? Now we were able to do it 4 times, I think you said, yeah?
To a lead, yeah.
Okay, which I think would probably be an elite statistic, because you don't see that very often. The issue with bombing it long is that our small forwards go missing, right? And we have no forward pressure when Fogarty is not in the team. And that's why...
Motlop too.
Motlop as well, yeah. Durden isn't that guy. Always isn't that guy. So we've always lived and died by our small forwards. And anybody who's watched Carlton enough knows when our small forwards are up and about, we win games. And they just weren't up and about at all during this game. At all. Durden was going up for marks with Kerno.
And I think he did it with TDK in the first quarter as well.
God, like, bro, it was so frustrating to see just how out of position our small forwards are every time. Every time. You got Cottrell front and center, TDK front and center.
Pito got a front and center, I'm pretty sure once. There was once as well, right?
Pito did everything on the weekend.
Yeah, I think there's two things for me. Like going back, like we'll obviously cover every quarter, but we've talked about the inside 50s. We had 21 more, 66 versus 45. And if you get 66 inside 50s, you're going to kick a winning score versus 45. You think, what's their efficiency? They went at 62% efficiency and we went at 45%. So that's the difference right there. That's literally the difference. That, and I think the biggest thing, we talked about the transition. The defenders didn't do enough for long enough, right? Williams, he didn't look right. I don't know if he was unfit or whatnot. He didn't look right. He was like, in the transition, Stengel tore him to pieces a few times. Lewis Young, we'll talk about Lewis Young. Weed has done a fantastic job on Hawkins. Hawkins did nothing, right? Didn't impact the scoreboard, got a couple of touches, but I think as a unit, right, it shows that, you're missing your Sard, you're missing your Gov, your Marchbank potentially as well. So I think that they just didn't work as a unit for long enough. And on the transition, and credit to the Cats, man, the Cats cut us up on the rebound, and you could see it when they were out. They were out.
Elite.
And you're getting your defenders just pushed off the ball easily, or just completely. And when their foot skills are that good as well, you're going to get punished. But if you're not making a count, if you're kicking 2-8 in the first quarter, and we'll touch on the fourth in a bit. But if you're getting, it's the same story against Adelaide. All those missed opportunities, you look back and you rue those chances. If you got 66 inside 50s and 30 scoring shots, 9 times out of 10, you win that game.
I think the defense this year, but has been pushing up a bit too much, because nearly every game this year, we've always been caught over the back, and they've kicked goal easily though. It's been even like we kick a goal, we work our asses off to kick a goal, ball up, instant goal for the opposition.
Yeah,
and that's a stinger. It hurts. Like you bust your balls. We're losing it in the crowd. Goal, and then instantly, all that hard work is for what? It's annoying. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Especially when we miss 3 or 4 before we score a goal. And then, we work so hard to get one, and then it just goes down the other end. And
easy.
Poor Wiedering, the bloke's trying his heart out. Touching back on Zach Williams, some of his efforts were just not AFL standard. And this is a bloke that's getting paid $800K a year, probably now. I don't even know, bro. I don't even care. Whether you're getting paid $1 or you're getting paid $800K, you got the Carlton jumper on. Effort is a non-negotiable, I think. And bro, he was diving. He got love tapped, and he dived to the ground. He should get fined for that. And his teammates should give him a clip around the ears for that, because we don't dive. We're not a weak team. We're not soft. We don't have soft players in our team. I thought we got rid of the soft guys over the years, but this just showed me that, bro, harden up. I don't know, man.
I feel like he panics with the ball as well. I've always said it. I feel like he just rushes, and he makes it look like he's got no time, but he has more time than what he does.
Who?
Zach Williams.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bit of silk about him, but what's frustrating, and it was completely highlighted in that game, is you look at unfortunately for us, an ex-player and a player that plays the same position, Zach Tui. Zach Tui showed what effort, and effort doesn't need that doesn't require skill or practice. It's effort, right? So Zach Tui ran his ass off, went forward, kicked 3 on us, right?
Yeah.
And not, I know he does it all the time against us. He has great games against us, but man, it shows you the effort and the skill and the willingness of a halfback flanker. Again, not hanging crap on him, but he got tailed up, right? And it's concerning, because there's been talk. I think David King called for him to be dropped. Again, at the same time, can you drop him? You probably can't, right? You got Chincotta waiting in the wings, who hasn't had much game time. I think he got held over from the VFL. He played one, I think, a week ago or whatnot. All right, you play him, and then what? You can't give him 4 or 5 weeks and let Williams not play. You have to play him.
Yeah.
So is it what do you do? I guess that's the job for Voss now and the line coaches. So
it's the only reason he doesn't get dropped is because the money's on. No other reason.
Well, at the same time, Boyd's had a stellar season. Sard's out. It's. I still think he's in our best 22. I really do, but he's just got to show it. He's just got to show it, and it's not just show it for 1 week or one passage of play. Against Freo or whatnot. I know he had a great sort of last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, but it's consistently week in, week out. It's what Carlton, when they sold him, the vision and whatnot, they probably had that expectation, that ask, right? Obviously that was different, midfield minutes and whatnot, but for what he naturally was, a halfback flanker, I don't think we've seen the best of him.
I'd send him to the twos, in my opinion. Let him earn it. Send him back to the VFL for a week or 2.
I'm with Carl.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was David King was
I'd rather
calling.
Integrity. Sorry, George, again.
No. There you go.
No, I'd rather choose on integrity, pick the team on integrity, over how much we pay a bloke. I'd rather have someone out there who's on half his wage and who's going to put in at every contest and isn't going to drop, when he gets love tapped. That just pissed me off. Watching the replay, that just
And it
pissed
resulted
me
in a goal
right
as well.
off. And
You know,
it
it's just-
resulted
it's-
in a goal.
Yeah, it's not that it's just this game either. Like what are we? 6-7 rounds in. Chincotta came in last year. We didn't know who the bloke was. He was great. You know? So I'd bring in Chincotta, Zach Williams in the VFL a week or two, just to get a bit of confidence back up and then bring it back in.
But is it confidence? I don't know if it's confidence because he tries to break lines all the time. He tries, like, you know, when he has his moment, but he just doesn't do it enough. And the effort just wasn't there on the weekend.
And then if
Well,
he
I
does,
think
he
he
turns
does
it
it too
over
often.
anyway.
I think he does it too often. Tries to break lines. There's moments, right? You got to pick your moments. In the chat, there's a few backing Zach Williams. Rocco from the jumper punch. Henry got fined for the Williams incident, so there was something there. And Morris, I think you boys are being a bit too harsh on Zach Williams. He tried to break the lines and take the game on, which Andy just said as well.
There's nothing wrong with taking Amal, there's nothing wrong with taking the game on, but
Yeah.
you can't stuff it up always.
Or like I think he did it last week in the back line, right? There was a
Where he
few
got tackled and holding the ball,
Yeah, tackled holding
tried
the ball.
to tackle 98 people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, is that because I'll play devil's advocate? Is it because we've got so many outs, he almost assumes the responsibility? Which I don't mind. Because he is a senior player.
Yeah,
He's
the
just
outs
maybe doing a bit too much. He's doing what Cripps used to do and try to just take on too much sometimes.
Moments. I think it's moments. Pick your moments. Pick your moments.
and it's not just him, right? Like there's a number of other players that that definitely didn't have their best game or didn't take their moments, right? And I'm sure we'll talk about that in the fourth. But it's when you start off with 2-8 in the first quarter and you're trying to chase an undefeated team, you're already giving yourself a big enough task.
Yeah.
Hey, credit to Geelong. They were like mature that whole game. They played a very mature game. Every time we got within a goal or two, they'd shift gears. They'd pull away again. So credit to them. And again, we just didn't take our chances. We should have buried them.
Absolutely.
The game should have been over at halftime. And if the game's over at halftime, they don't score 120 or whatever they did. Well, I don't even know how much they scored. But they don't
118,
score that if we put scoreboard pressure on. So we left ourselves open to leave the game fluid, to leave the game open.
Yep.
And I think we just got hurt on the way back too often. But again, we start shit. We start shit and we're playing catch up. So frustrating.
Ozatesh in the chat. Looking forward to the Carlton versus Collingwood this Friday night. We should have beaten Geelong last weekend. Too inaccurate in front of goal. Cheers for that, Oz.
Thanks, Oz.
Second quarter and third quarter. With the little analysis that I did, we went in 16 times both of those quarters. In the second, we bombed it in 7 times, which led to 1 goal. Kicked it to a lead 4 times. Again, 1 mark and 1 goal. Similar situation. Twice the ball was either handballed in or kicked just off the ground, which led to 2 goals as well. And in the third quarter, 8 times we bombed it in, leading to 2 marks and 2 goals, and 7 times on the lead, 2 marks and 2 goals.
You're really obsessed with this bombing
I
in.
hate it. You don't understand how much it pisses me off.
No, see, I don't mind it. We're getting scores.
Cameron,
I can't see how you can ask any more of the midfielders with delivery out of a center clearance.
It's a direction. It's a
Yeah, but-
direction. Bomb it in.
But they're getting
bomb it in.
tackled. So what do you want them to do if they're getting tackled?
Kick
What do
on
you
the
think
lead.
happens to the oppositions?
Kick on the lead.
But how?
We saw Jeremy Cameron get kicked, had the ball kicked to him. How many times on the lead?
Okay, but that's
What's
like-
the difference?
okay. So we're going directly
Is
out.
Harry Mackay and Charlie Kerner not at that level?
What I'm saying is that okay, compared to Geelong, when they got their center clearances were going wide and then going in. That's a lack of pressure from the midfield. Geelong's pressure in the midfield was right on us. We didn't get many clear runs. Like it's very hard to get a clear run. You got to remember too, we were down half our defense. So a lot of their who's going to take on Jeremy Cameron? We had this conversation. Who was going to take on Jeremy Cameron? We don't have anyone, and there aren't many players in the league that can take on Jeremy Cameron. It's all good and well to say, yeah, don't bomb it in, don't bomb it in. But when you're getting tackled out of the midfield, how are you supposed to hit up a target? I think you're being very harsh on the boys out of the midfield with talking about long bombs. General play, when we bomb it long, absolutely, I'm with you, 100%. But out of the middle, it's very, very hard.
I think nearly every team bombs it out of the middle with the center clearances. But yeah, with running in, I'm with Amal on that one. Need to lower the gaze sometimes because
absolutely that one there when we're running in, absolutely.
Yeah.
But out of the middle, it's very hard, man. Because you're constantly, there's pressure on you. You're getting tackled. Yeah. If you take that split second to try hit up a target, you're done holding the ball in the middle of the ground. And then what happens when everyone's running back the other way? They're going to get us over the back.
Don't think they said out of the middle, but this is throughout the whole quarter, right? Not just out of the middle. But we're
talking about the middle. Yeah.
I think as a midfield, as a Carlton midfielder, if you're probably hoping and you're probably confident that if I bomb it in, one of Charlie, one of Harry's going to grab it. But the smalls, going back to the smalls, want them to have an impact, not standing on the side of the contest, going up for the same ball as well. And sometimes, and I don't know, I think I said it during the game, that wing, the outlet kick from defence to the wing, that's where we've really missed Jesus. Having Jack Silvani there as that extra option, because there's a couple of times where, yes, Harry will have to pluck out an insane contested mark, or mostly Harry compared to Charlie in that space. And then if Charlie's, either too far or he's off or whatnot, you've got no options. He's kicking it to a Durden and Owi's forward line with Elijah Holland sort of running in there or TDK resting up there. So I feel like that's where you miss Martin having that presence, Jesus having that presence. And Elijah's doing really well. Credit to him. I just want to call him out. He had a good game. He had a solid game, and he's building really well.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's where we've missed that. Having Sauce having those marks down the wing and whatnot. But yeah, if you're blazing in from the midfield off a clearance, Pitner grabbed it. I think he had a couple of clearances on him of his own. You'd back yourself to say, you know what, Charlie's probably there. He'll make a contest, get it to ground. I back him to get something. And we score enough. Our scores are there. It's the polish. It's when TDK kicks 0-3. Dirt. We're going to get to Dirt, but there's these misses that kill you. Wiedering's one in the first quarter, and I know Wiedering, he kicks 1 goal a season or 2 goals a season, obviously from fullback. But when he had that opportunity, 30 out, and these it just builds that perceived pressure on the next kicker. The doubt. The next kicker's got a bit more pressure on him. When you start getting 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, you're not only building that pressure, you're just you could feel the sucking of the energy out of the place. You're just giving yourself a tougher ask.
5-goal 1 quarter in the third, which was a good result, and we were 9 points the deficit going into the fourth quarter. Pitto wins it out of the ruck, gets boot to ball, and Curnow takes a mark. I think it was just on the 50, right? Should he have played on? Should he have waited? Should he have taken his time? What do you guys think? And those in the chat as well, let us know.
Charlie just does whatever he wants, bro. He's kicked them from there before, so
yeah, it's a hard one. You probably play on.
The start of the fourth. Are we talking start of the fourth?
Start of the fourth, yeah.
Start of the fourth, yeah. The wheel and go,
yeah.
I mean, he had it's either wheel and go for goal, or he had TDK one out in the square. Charlie backs himself, and you'd want him to you'd want him to be confident, right? So go for it. But he can make that distance. He can go back and have a shot and make that distance, no problem.
Did he hit the post, or did he just go behind?
Hit the post. The post.
Okay. And then shortly after, I can't remember who delivered it in. It was on the lead, straight into our target tonight, Corey Durden.
He's no good, bro. He's no good. No one can tell me that he's good. I'm sorry. We've persisted, and lack of personnel. Motlop comes in, he doesn't get another game. You can't miss 20 meters out directly in front. You get 5 kicks a game, bro. 5 kicks a game. You're a small forward. You're paid to kick these goals. Kick the goal, and he didn't. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Look, it's easy to pin it on one bloke. Yeah, like it's so easy to pin it on one bloke. But man, that just sucked the air out of the entire MCG.
Yep.
And that was the equivalent to the he's stubbed toe against Adelaide, right? Like, and I don't want to malign both of those characters, but pivotal moments of the game. And if it's I'm not speculating or predicting. If it's Motlop, he kicks both. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. If it's Fogarty, but it's just it's frustrating when you've got in the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, you got TDK. Sorry, you got Charlie Wheelingo, then you got Durden, and then you keep that pressure on. You're absolutely all over them. They were worrying them out of it. TDK gets one, and I think that was his third behind of the night as well. So and then they just go in and kick. I think it was Henry or Cameron. They got the next one. So all that work, as Carl said earlier, all that work for 3 points, and they go and get 2 or 3 goals, like a 3-goal turnaround. So
I think the Durden one is where he missed it though, like how close he was. Whereas the other one's like gettable, very gettable. This bloke's 15 meters out. Let's be generous, 20 meters out, directly in front.
Yeah,
you're an AFL footy player, professional footy player. I'll give it to my son, 8 years old, to probably kick it.
Morris with the first super on this channel. There were many positives. Injury depleted, and we took it to Geelong. And don't forget, it's a long season. Durden should get the arse and lamb cutlets in.
Thanks, Morris.
Thanks, Morris.
Appreciate you, Morris. Shout out to Morris, who cooked me a brilliant steak last night too. Steak, cigars, and a bit of Hennessy. Thank you, Morris. Nice. Appreciate it.
There were those 3 moments very early in the fourth quarter. So it was the Charlie miss, the unfortunate miss, which hit the post. Durden missing, actually no, 4. Durden missing from very, very close in front. TDK missing shortly after that, and then the Guthrie. He kicked the ball out of bounds. It was obviously deliberate. It would have been paid deliberate any other day, any other game. But it wasn't, and it was thrown in. I think that's at that point it was kind of like, fuck. It was really bad. Anyway, at that point I had my camera on George. I do have some footage of him. He was quite frustrated. Check this out.
What?
I was scared for a second. I was like,
did you know that was coming?
I did not know that was coming, and I was like, shit. I'm like, I might have said some questionable things in the fourth. What did he record? I was scared for a second there. Goodness.
Pissed. Yeah, absolutely pissed.
And don't forget, like, we're missing these opportunities, and then we're copping them the other way, right? So the defensive unit, again, lapses. They weren't holding up, and the forwards weren't doing their job. They were letting it. The floodgates were open, right? So you can't just, I guess, you can focus on obviously the inaccuracy, yes, but going back the other way, what is usually a very cohesive unit was not for a long period of time. So
lack of personnel, man. Lack of personnel was exposed.
Do you think it's a mix of both lack of personnel, 100%, right? You don't have Marchbank, who isn't going to solve anything, but Marchbank, McGovern.
He will over Young though.
Look, yeah, absolutely. But McGovern, Sard, Doherty, Marchbank, right? You got four really, really big players that are missing from the defense, right? But do you think it's more a mix of personnel and also the fact that Carl mentioned this earlier as well, is that we're really pushing up high, giving the opportunity for teams to get behind over the top of us?
So what I think, I agree that it's both. I think it's both. I think more so personnel, but I agree it's because we push up the ground. So what I think we're trying to do,
lock it in.
We're trying to lock it in. We're trying to keep the pressure up down the ground. But what's happening is our mids, our wingers aren't running back hard enough to give the defense a chop out. Either that, or teams have just worked out to get out very quickly, find a way out, and then just 3 kicks, you're in the forward line. So, but I do think it's a mixture of both. But you're not doing yourselves any favors by these soft tissue injuries and like everyone's talking about what's his name? Andrew Russell.
Andrew
right?
Russell.
Everyone's like, yep. And there's pros and cons, right? You cannot tell me he's got this right when so many soft tissue injuries are happening. Like I looked at our injury list again last night. I was speaking to a friend of mine. She's an osteo. She knows nothing about footy, right? The first thing she said when I was telling her about these injuries was, yeah, that says a lot about, the lack of strength and conditioning. That's your strength and conditioning department. So
Does she want a job?
telling you, mate, she'd do a better job than probably some of the people there. So
Quick couple shout outs. One from our friend Zach. P.S. The absence of Mus is a breath of fresh air. Poor
I
Mus.
love you.
It's been 36 minutes. There hasn't been a single criticism of Harry Mackay. I think that's the first time in the show because Mus is not here. And shout out to Ur. Could have won. Hopefully, this puts us in a good mindset against Collingwood. And I think that's key. That is. I'll talk about it in the preview for sure. But I think that's. I'm sure Voss would have been rallying him this morning and saying, use that, the anger, the frustration, and pump these pricks on Friday.
Now, towards the end of the fourth, who was it that kicked the first? It was Cripper with about 8 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us thought at that point that the comeback was on. We were just like, yeah, whatever. It's just a goal.
Blake
Look,
Acres, bro.
Half the supporters had left by then.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Which was very disappointing, by the way.
They left early.
Yeah.
You don't leave early. You stick around and you watch your team to the end.
And then after the Cripps goal, shortly after, it was Kennedy with 5 minutes remaining. And then
It's a
we're
good
only
goal.
a couple of goals behind. And then
Great goal.
bang, bang, Sheriff. The Sheriff comes into town and puts two quick ones away.
Two great ones.
Really, like breaking
Great
through packs, breaking through tackles. He did what Williams tried to do last week, but actually managed to do it. He got through and kicked those goals. And Cardiac Carlton back. It's back.
We're looking at each other like,
Well,
going on?
the Cripps one was good. Like, captain's goal, he got the second goal, of the game. And then Kennedy's goal was a nice set shot, right? And then
He's got a beautiful kick, Kennedy.
it was a very nice kick from a great spot. Akers got that one because he broke the pack one. I was like, okay, hold on, this is all right, this is good.
took on
And
three
then-
tackles.
Yeah, you did. And then how quick out of the middle, the fourth one, like everyone stood up, right? And I think we were predominantly in a very Geelong bay for this game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard the bloke behind us and a couple other guys and whatnot. They were like, as soon as all the Carlton fans started leaving, they were giving out the banter, and rightly so. They were saying, bye everyone, see ya, and all happy and this and that and whatnot. And as soon as Akers kicked that first and then his second one, silence.
It's like they
Dead
left.
silence. Yeah, absolute. They were thinking surely not. Like they were shitting
Yeah.
bricks.
They were.
But how are you feeling? Like that was.
I dreamt.
Yeah.
Straight out. I dreamt.
I wanted to tackle the lady in front of us.
Oh no.
Hey, she wanted to tackle you, Carl. At one stage, she turns around to her, I don't know, husband or son, I don't know, and goes, I'm going to tell that boy off. I'm going to tell that. He wasn't even doing anything that wrong.
I was just being annoying.
And she was absolutely having to go after the Zach Williams dive as well.
What is it with old
Yeah,
ladies
yeah,
not
yeah.
liking us?
Yeah.
Old ladies
Yeah.
just do not like us at the football. We're not even doing anything.
I said when we sat down, I'm like, we're going to cop it from her some way, somehow, right? Oh, God. Like a magnet for.
Andy, did I hear correctly after the second Akers goal? Did I hear you say, I'm going to vomit?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was that one.
He said vomit. I heard
vomit.
Musk goes to me, "Hey, feeling, bro?" I looked him dead in the eyes. I go, "Bro, I'm gonna vomit," because I was dreaming. I'm like, these blokes, man, they do it to us all the time, bro.
Why?
Like, But hey, personnel down. We dominate the majority of the statistics and that.
Yeah.
We get our defenders back, and even if we don't, I don't fear playing Geelong. Like, we should have beat them. We didn't. Credit to them. They won the game. No excuses. But I don't fear them. And I think they're very beatable. And even if we get into another shootout, then we win if we take our chances. And I'm not fearful. So, mate, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
we've lost 2 games this year. and
be
they've
7
both
now.
stung. They have both stung, right? It says a lot about where we're at as a football club right now. It says a lot about our expectations and what we expect as supporters and what Voss expects as a coach.
Yeah.
Because the way he reacted after the game as well in the
I
presser,
loved it. Loved it.
That was the best.
bro, that's the best presser I've ever
Mhm.
seen him have.
Yeah.
So I hope the boys learn from it. I think Rocco said, we'll learn more about this losing than if we got the win.
Yeah, love
So-
what Rocco said in the chat there.
Yeah. So I really hope the boys do learn from it, take the lessons, and we come out this week and we obliterate the filth.
Mm.
I don't want a bitter joy for them this week. I want them to be miserable from the first second for the next however long until we play them again. I want them to feel misery. I want them to feel dark clouds. I want them to suffer for 4 quarters next week. And if we take our chances, we will, because I don't rate them.
And on the quarters, we've won. There was a stat that came out today: 14 of 28 quarters we've won for the year. That's why you're leaving yourself exposed or trying to play catch up. And we've done insane bursts, obviously, yes, against GWS, against Brisbane, Richmond as well. But like, if you're leaving yourself to try and play catch up every week, you're going to lose some along the way. So I think being consistent, playing that for those 4 quarters, this Friday is critical.
Yeah. 2 call-outs in the chat. John Holden. She didn't like the Heath Shaw's brother, Ahmed Shaw. And Justin Akari, the Geelong supporters near us were scared of us gorillas. And I laughed my ass off. I just want to make a call-out. Justin Akari is my number 1 Carlton fan. I love him.
He was
He was sitting close to us.
the most
PG's up the whole
enthusiastic
bay.
fan.
He was
I
sitting
love it.
close to us. He was literally just the bay next to us, a couple of rows down, and half the stadium could hear him and his group.
I think
Keep
that's why
it.
we're missing shots.
Keep the energy. Keep the energy, Justin. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Legend.
On you, Justin.
Now, this game in isolation was...
Sorry, Amal, before you go on,
Yeah.
there's a guy in the comments called Jay Taylor, and all he does is just shit on Carlton, right? Jay, pull your head in. Thanks for the support. Thanks for subscribing. But pull your head in, mate. This is a Carlton channel. If you don't want to hear a few blokes be optimistic about their football team, I don't know what you're doing on our channel.
Jay's got
Christ,
some.
man.
Supporter.
He's got some good banter there sometimes. I must
He
admit.
is. He's great. He's awesome. But leave us alone. Let us be optimistic. For fuck's sake. Can't even be optimistic on our own channel.
I'd like to give one shout out actually to a listener of ours, Vicky K. Vicky met your son, who I actually work with, gentleman of a bloke. Says that his parents tune in, and his mum tunes in to our previews and reviews. So shout out Vicky K. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate it.
Now, this game in isolation, from a neutral's perspective, would have been fantastic to watch. Both teams scored over 100 points. As a Carlton fan, it was incredibly frustrating. Right? I think we all feel we didn't play our best footy, but an unacceptable loss because of the amount of opportunities that we created for ourselves. Right, good or bad, 66 inside 50s. With 30 plus shots at goal, should have resulted in a better score than 105, and should have been way better than what Geelong were able to produce. Right? We should have won. And I think we're all in agreement with that. But where to from here? Is it glass half full or glass half empty?
Definitely half full.
Yeah,
Definitely. There's so much upside, bro.
100%.
So much. We're 5-2. Yeah.
Yep.
With players to come in. We're not playing our best footy. We've got a tough run coming up. Absolutely. But we showed last year that we can get on a run. And, we also showed last year it is a long season.
Mm.
So whatever happens in the next month, I mean, you'd like to get, 2 or 3 wins out of that at least.
Yeah.
But, we're going to lose along the way. It's just inevitable in footy. So I think it's important just to remember just how long the season is and how hard we had to work to get to that pointy end last year, right? And what we went through as a supporter base, we just need to just chill a bit. And this is what I said after the Adelaide loss. We just need to chill. And things will work out. We'll get there. We'll get to the pointy end of the season. And it doesn't matter how you're playing now. It all depends on how you're playing at that end of the season, right? So you just want to hit form at that end of the season. So I'm still very, very
Obviously, with some wins along the way. Not leave
Yeah.
it luck till last year.
glass definitely half full.
Same for you,
that's
Carl?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Georgie?
I was going to say it's part of the title of the video, I guess. Wayward, Wasteful, Worried? ? And one in the chat, like let us know your thoughts as well. Are you potentially worried? How are you feeling? I'm not. I think I go back to sort of the Adelaide game in this game, and yes, we let the opposition kick a good winning score and whatnot, but I think we kicked ourselves out of both games, right? So I'm not exactly worried. We're getting some personnel back. Once we start getting a bit of polish, we haven't seen Charlie break an entire game open yet he's still leading the Coleman. What a
How
luxury
crazy
that
is
is.
that? How
Luxury.
That's crazy. The bloke plays a quarter and a half a game
It gets
of
subtle
solid
at the third
footy.
quarter.
He starts after the halftime oranges, right? Like he gets into gear.
After the Snakes.
Yeah, so no, I'm optimistic, and I think banking a couple of these wins early. But it's important to again the goal is got to finish in the top four, got to get that double chance. You cannot leave it till late. We learned that the hard way in 2022. We done it the hard way in 2023, and you don't want to do that in 2024. So
Amal, do you know how to pin comments?
I do.
Trex86 did the best comment I've ever seen on this channel, mate.
Which one?
2 words. Just fuck Collingwood.
Fuck.
Now, Collingwood's a dirty word on this channel, so we try not to use the word Collingwood. If you can, we use the word filth instead. Collingwood is a dirty word. Might get you banned on this channel. No, I'm joking.
I just want to quickly say big shout out to us and the club on 100,000 members.
Yeah.
Massive.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Massive.
Great milestone.
Massive.
Absolutely.
First time in
We're
its
gonna-
history, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, we're all going to get a gift from the club apparently.
I'll take a win this Friday, please.
Oh, that'll be the biggest gift of all.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I love about this club? Every time we lose, they drop a good field article. I reckon they've had this up their sleeve for a while. And they're like, oh, we lost the game. Let's just feed them a bit of good
100,000
news.
supporters.
Hey, we
in
love
on
the
Monday.
club. We love the club. There's 100,000 of us signed up members. Probably hundreds of thousands more that haven't signed up. Sign up. Even if you can't afford it, don't feed your kids. Sign up.
Sign up and subscribe to us.
Get this club to a premiership.
Shout out to the chat. I think there's almost 90 views there. Hit the like button if you haven't done as well. Maybe, shoot out how long you've been a member for as well. I know we've had some great long-term members that watch us, and it's great to meet a few people that tune in and just to hear some stories about the premierships they've seen and how long they've been, members for and whatnot. So I love that. I can't wait for our generation, the next generation, to have that success. I'm bloody G'd up for that.
Absolutely.
In.
Let's get on to votes, gentlemen. 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes. For those watching along, let us know in the chat who your votes are going to this week. George, start with you.
I'm going to give my. I didn't look into it too much this week, like stats wise. One, I just on feeling and watching the game. I'm going to give my one to Wiedering. He executed his job to perfection, right, as a defender. You could say that Geelong will take that, right? They'll say, yeah, that's fine. We can put a lot of goals besides Hawkins, as they did with Cameron and the midfielders getting in it and Tui getting in it. So you could probably say that Geelong might have said, well, we're happy with that. But as a defensive line coach, as Voss, as a player, as Wiedering, to shut out your opponent like that, the confidence you feel when the ball's coming in. There was a couple of one-on-one contests. I had no doubt in my mind that Hawkins wasn't going to get it over Wiedering. You just have that confidence with him. So shout out to Wieders. What a man. What a player. Whether it's one-on-one, spoiling, whether it's getting back on the mark, absolute unit. And looking forward to hopefully seeing Marchbank come back and pair with him and Gov. No slogging off you, Lewis Young, but he's just yeah.
He's
I
too
think
young. He's too young.
I think Wieders just it's frustration as well on his end, right? Like he hates getting beaten. So one for him. I'll give my 2 to Akers. So Akers batted all day. A few good inside 50s, won some good contests, did some, probably didn't do as well defensively as some of his best efforts this year. But those 2 goals were something special, right? Like I think he had a decent game, but to break the game like that, and he loves the G, I think, right? So he scored some very, very important goals. The Sydney game, the Melbourne game is just going to go down in folklore. But to break the packs and then weave through for that second goal as well, I'll give him 2 just for giving us that hope and that glimmer, right? So there's 2 for you, bro, but just for making me feel great for a minute in that evening. And 3 to Cripps, like the bloke battled again. He's had a very solid April, very solid month. 2 goals. Well, if Cripps is kicking a couple goals, it's a great day for him, right? Usually, if Cripps kicks a couple goals, we win.
We win.
Because that's his rotation, right? It's midfield, some time in the forward bench.
But I love the fact that he's nailing those set shots, right? Yeah. So you could say what you want. I think he had a good run a couple of years ago. He was a bit off sort of last year with his set shooting, but he's nailing. And when he nails a couple of goals, it's a good day out. Absolute beast in the midfield. So 3 for Cripper.
Excellent. Nazi in the chat, 1 to Akers, 2 to Hewitt, 3 to Cripps. Jay Taylor, 1 vote to Mus, 2 votes to Andy, 3 votes to Jay Taylor. no votes to Ramsey or Trex. Love it.
I love the beef in the comments.
Petra, 1 vote to Walsh, 2 votes to Harry, 3 to Akers, 4 to Weeders, and 5 to Cripps. Missed the memo there. So it's 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes, Petra. But thanks anyway. And Sam Mansour, 1 to Pito, 2 to Walsh, 3 to Cripps. Andy, I'll throw it to you.
I think Petra just made a great comment. Elijah had a good game. Elijah had a great game. He's really gelling well with the squad, which is nice to see. He's only going to get better, right? So looking forward to see what he brings for the rest of the year and the rest of his career at Carlton with a few premierships under his belt. 1, it's a tough one because we played all right. Like we played good footy. We just that polish at the end, but I thought Harry was huge. I honestly thought Harry Mackay was huge. What he does down the field is invaluable to our team. And yes, he kicked a couple points, kicked 1 on the full, but everyone missed. So 1 to Harry, 2 to Weeders. To be able to just put Hawkins in your back pocket is a feat in itself. So, and he dominated. He hurt him too on the other way. So he actually had a shot on goal, which was wild. It would have brought the house down if you kicked it. And 3 to Cripper, because I think he's just leading by example this year. Back to his Brownlow best, I feel. He's really, really putting a season together. And I love now that Walshy's back. It's kind of given him a bit of a breather. And again, it's just going to get better when Chera gets back as well. So that's another one we really missed actually on the weekend. A bit of poise and class going inside 50. So, yeah. Carl?
Before we go to Carl, Brandon in the chat, 1 to Akers, 2 to Harry, 3 to Kennedy, 4 to Weeders, 5 to Cripps. Just 3 votes, please, Brandon. Morris, 1 to Walsh, 2 to Harry, 3 to Cripps. Oz Atesh, 1 to Weeders, 2 to Cripps, and 3 to Walsh. And Mark Smithies, 1 to Akers, 2 to Elijah, and 3 to Cripps. Carl.
I've got Mussa's votes. I'm going to read them out quickly.
Do it.
Lewis Young, 1 vote. Durden, 2 votes. And Williams, 3 votes.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Special mention, Harry Mackay.
No, he's got Blake Acres for 1, Pitternet for 2, and Cripps for 3. My votes, I'm giving Pitternet to 1 as well. You know what? He's pretty much slapped us all in the face since last week's game. We all gave it to him.
Good.
And he's backed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully keep backing it up. He's been great for us. 2 votes, like the boys said, Wadering. His ability to read the play when it's coming in one-on-one, he just destroys Hawkins. Just this game. How many games have been? He always just happens
I think Hawkins had kicked 5 goals on him in the last 5 games.
That's huge.
So 5 out of 5. And now 0.
Nothing.
So 5 out of 6, yeah.
He's usually had it over him in the past. And Crippers free. When you need someone to stand up, you know who it is. Cripps. Come on.
Before I get into it, ordered with an interesting call. Cripper must be leading the Brownlow count. I don't think he'll be leading, but he will definitely be up there. I think.
I think he's
holds some
very
votes.
close, man.
Him and Haney, surely. Him and Haney.
Yeah, Haney. Haney.
Because
Who else?
when we've lost, he's played really well as well.
Lately,
So-
in the last couple of games too, he's had ripper games. Games. My one is going to go to Weeders. I think he did a fantastic job in defence. It's taken him a few weeks to get to his best, but he's there now, and that showed against Hawkins. To Blake Acres, the sheriff. His work rate and then his ability to come in clutch, especially right at the last, in the dying embers of the game, is beautiful to watch. And yeah, 30 Cripps, 29 disposals, 2 goals, almost 400 meters gained. Is just impressive stuff. A frustrating loss. We're at 5-2 after 7 rounds. However, it's not. We're not yet worried. I don't think we should be worried just yet. There's so much positives. There's so much upside to this team. We have to consider and take into account that we have quite a number of injuries across the lines, in our forward line, in our defense, and 1 or 2 in the middle. And once they come back and we clean up a few things, it genuinely looks like it's going to be very, very hard to stop us. And we might, just with the way things are going, we might peak at just the right time. What's important at the moment is that we get that top 4 position, and let's see how we go over this next stretch, this next 4-week.
Before you sign off, there's something. This is like full random, right? It's something that's been weighing on my mind over the last few days. It's actually quite a serious topic. It's not football related, and I know we're a Carlton show, and people probably tune in just to hear a few Arabs just talk shit about footy. But there's something happening in the country right now that I think needs to be acknowledged because we are men, and that is the issues facing women. Right, we've got a lot of women who subscribe to us, who follow us, who interact with us, and the things I'm seeing on TV and reading in the papers and just engaging with the people that subscribe with us, right, is that women are living in fear right now. And I think it's important as men to be able to converse with one another, pull each other up, because some of the language I've seen towards women online, in person, it's pretty unacceptable these days, right? And you can mask it as banter, you can mask it as a joke, but it needs to be pulled up. And I think with everything happening in the country, I think it's really important to be able to talk to your mates. And women are genuinely feeling unsafe, right? And there's this thing going around where they're saying, would you rather be trapped in the forest with a man or a bear? And women are choosing the bear. And when I first heard it, I was like, how silly is this? It's not logical. But then I asked myself the question. I've got 3 sisters. You boys have sisters. You boys have daughters. I asked myself the question, would I want my sister in a forest with a bear or a man that I didn't know? And fuck, you know what, man? It makes sense, yeah? So I think as men, it's important to hold each other accountable. When you see your mate talking a bit of shit online and treating women a bit funny even in person, call it out, right? We are part of the problem because we don't call each other out. We don't hold each other accountable. You boys feel free to jump in at any time too, yeah? I know this is just random. I've just sprung this on you, and it's a pretty sour way to end an episode. But I do feel it's important to hold each other accountable as men, as you guys are fathers, as brothers, as husbands. You boys are husbands. As friends, we've got, female friends. Women need to feel safe. And if we're in a position where we've got 100 people watching or a few hundred people just watching a few Arabs, having a chat about footy. If we've got a platform to be able to just say to other men, have that conversation with each other. Yeah. I'll put my hand up. I haven't always been great towards women, and my language towards women hasn't always been great, but I'm learning, I'm growing. So hold yourselves accountable, hold each other accountable. I think it's a very, very important issue to really think about as men. Yeah, we really need to hold each other accountable. Accountability is the word here, right? You want the women in your life and other women to feel safe at all times, right?
It's big respect to you for acknowledging it, number one, but also, raising it, bringing it up, the awareness, because I think, and just listening in and sort of getting across some of the posts and what's happening in the country the last few days, like Albanese came out and said, I think this year alone, there's a woman killed every 4 days since the year started, right? Which is insane. And it's crazy that we have to even talk about this. It's a disappointment that we even have to converse about this and raise this, that this is an issue, right? But you're right. Like, and I look at it like politicians will talk and say, I marched with the women, and we're going and going to talk about it in the cabinet. And that's usually all it is. They're talking about it, right? It's not going to start and end with politicians. It's going to, as Andy said, it's us, it's the people, it's the community, it's getting around each other, it's getting around that you've made, and it's not, like you said, it's not all men, but it's happens to be, unfortunately, the violence with against women from men. But like you said, this should be, and hopefully is a bit of a wake up call. If not for yourself or a friend, a colleague. I had the unfortunate news of just last night. 9 News put up a missing colleague of mine who we worked together a couple of years ago, and that's insane, right? Like, it's just when it's that close to home. But I think speak to your mate if you're noticing, potential, issues that, or you're seeing, sort of red flags and this and that. Check in. Like, mental health is a big thing, but of course, making sure that you pull up your mate, pull up your brother, your uncle, your dad, whoever it might be. It's important that we are speaking about it, because I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, I trust our politicians are going to do the right thing. How often does that actually happen, right? They can talk about it, but it begins with us in the community. So good call out, Andy. I make huge respect to you. I think
call out,
we've got a lot of
said,
female
bro.
listeners. So, but not only that, it's we all come from larger families. I come from a very female dominated family as well. So it's important that we call this out. So well done.
Whilst we're on the topic, who can I speak to if I'm scared of my 3-year-old daughter? She's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Anyway, maybe a topic for another night. But no, seriously, on a more serious note, well said. Very, very well said.
Well done, boys. Well said, yeah.
Absolutely important to call it out. Friday night, I reckon it's going to be 90,000 plus. There will be a ton of people there, or close to a ton at least anyway, the ton being 100,000. Friday night at the Lights, Carlton v Collingwood.
Smashing the filth.
We will...
Smash the filth.
I think we will.
Say it. We are going to smash the filth.
We're going to smash the filth. It's a big week. We hope to see absolutely every single one of you who's been watching along tonight at the game. It's going to be... This is as big as it gets, right? As far as home and away games are concerned for Carlton and probably for Collingwood as well, outside of obviously Anzac Day for them. This is as big as it gets. The rivalry is there. It's going to be massive, and I think both teams are really well positioned to put on a show.
This is my girl. This is the girl I want to feel safe at all times.
And you know what? If you can't make it to the game, give away your ticket. Let someone go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think
More the merrier.
the deadline is tonight for the sell back to the club. But if you can't make it in the coming days,
If you haven't got anyone to give it to, send it to us and we'll give it to someone.
Yeah.
We'll find someone to give it to.
of course.
Send us a private message on Instagram or
Bring the
Facebook,
cat.
wherever it is.
If you're at the game, get loud this week.
Run
Run amok. Because when Carlton fans are loud, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like the feeling of hearing a Carlton crowd go up in unison. There's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah, take a page out of Justin Akari's book. He'll show you
Yeah.
what it is. He'll show you what it's like. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. And until Thursday night's preview of Carlton v Collingwood round 8, it is sayonara from the Monday Blues. Thanks to everyone for watching along. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Sick, you know.